Welcome. This is Do It Live Autonomy Podcast. My name is Joshua Hale. Today we have a nice group of people. We'll see if more will join us. But this is the last Do It Live Autonomy Podcast of Season 3. Woo! We made it. Very excited about that. We're going to take a nice little break in between seasons. And that doesn't mean there's not going to be things going on. There's a lot still happening, and we'll talk about that a little bit near the end. But we at least are going to be able to focus on other things in between seasons. We have so much happening. Like, it doesn't mean we're getting a break. But very happy to see Kara joining me tonight. I asked her to come to at least one Do It Live podcast this season, and lo and behold, it's the last one. So here she is. Kara, how are you tonight?
I'm doing very well, and I am happy to be here. Usually, it's just the Saturday evenings can be challenging for me, but tonight works really well for mine and my other half schedule. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Better late than never.
Yeah. Oh, and we got some things to cover that involve you. So I'm glad you're here because you can give us a little bit more behind the scenes in that.
Sounds good.
We got Rod. Rod's on camera. Thanks for saying hello, Rod. How are you this evening?
I'm doing well. I had missed a couple of weeks, but it was the last one of the season. I was like, I gotta go check that one out. So here I am.
Excellent. Well, we do have a lot to cover, so I'm just gonna kick it off. Is Agnieszka here? No. Okay. We'll circle back around. She's involved in a lot of different projects in autonomy, and so I'll see if she makes it tonight, and then she can tell us some more of what was going on. So this week was jam-packed. Not only were we getting ready for the last lecture, but we had 2 guest speakers this week. I had a ton of meetings, and a lot of awesome things are happening. And I'll kind of just go through this in a linear fashion. Monday, we had a team leader meeting. Kara, can you describe a little bit about what goes on in the team leader meetings?
Sure. Talking about the ones on Mondays?
Yeah.
Are we talking about our big group meetings
Monday.
On Monday? Yeah. So the team captains and I get together, and it's just a nice way to recalibrate. We check in with each other, share kind of our updates, whether, personal or within the realm of Autonomy Unlimited. Just kind of a nice way to just touch base and keep that connection with each other, because, we're working in different departments, but things overlap and we're still on the same team. So it's really important for us to check in with each other once a week.
Sweet. Yes. We're all triggering complexity because Kara is the team captain of the copywriting department, and we have multiple team captains, and we're all developing our own departments, and it's been really amazing to see everybody's self-organized and to develop systems and organization and have new apprentices and then just being able to tackle all these great projects. So I was happy to see you guys were starting to do these team leader meetings, because we have our big marketing meetings on Tuesdays, but man, I talk as fast as I can through that, and we're usually always cutting it at the hour just because we're out of time. So glad to see you guys getting together further and talking. All right, well, our first guest lecture this week was with an autonomy student, Benny Wills. Benny Wills is an actor, a comedian. He's known as the conspiracy guy from Joy Camp, but he just completed his first season here in Autonomy, and he's got a lot of great plans taking place because he was able to get some methods, resources, community, and support to make his goals take shape. But this week he got together and was interviewed by Richard Grove, who went through this really sweet timeline of who Benny Wills is, his background, how he came to be an activist, an actor, a comedian, and then developing his own brand after the fame of Joy Camp. So I got a little clip, and we'll just start here for those that missed it, and we can talk about this afterwards.
It was a turning point, light bulb moment for me. And it's been a really exciting process ever since of developing it. But every time I talk about the potential of this to people, they seem pretty excited. And it's not like I'm picking something up from scratch and just saying okay, what can I sell? Actually, I have something to offer because I'm only 36, but I have decades of experience doing certain things. And I've invested a lot of myself into these things to be good at them. And I know how to take all of that and bring it into bite-sized morsels for people that I can give them the tools the exact tools that help me get to where I'm at in not just public speaking or being on stage, but a number of things, and offer that to them in a few, or say a multi-week, possibly multi-month course that took me 20 years to figure out. And that's really exciting. And yeah, it's good for everybody. And even now looking back, I've had the last 2 days looking through my old emails so I could get my email list together. And I've realized just how sloppy I've been at all of this all along. I just didn't realize what I had in my hands until now. But now it's making sense. All of that work, all of that time with Joy Camp, all the connections I made, all the people who I've reached out to, or who I've reached with my content, are all now. I've accrued that. It's all of it is leading up to this, and it's making a very strange time, in the world, and even scary in certain ways, a lot more, approachable. I feel empowered and ready to, zig and zag with whatever's to come because I have a plan for the first time in a long time.
Well, really awesome to hear him make those achievements. And we know his plan because Autonomy Unlimited is helping Benny with his marketing, and so we're helping him take shape with his website, with his email marketing, with doing a damn network assessment, figuring out where all his networks are, where is he at, what videos does he have, what digital assets are already out there and ready to be reused into helping him with achieving his goals. And what's great about this is Benny's going to be next week working on, he's going to be having a live Q&A here in Autonomy all about the art of communication. And this first one's going to be just a kind of group discussion of what obstacles people have about public speaking, challenging conversations with friends and loved ones, just communication in general. And he has a wealth of knowledge and skills from his acting background that he's going to be using this information to create an online course so that he can help many with their communication and being able to share information with loved ones, right? I'm sure all of us can relate with that in this current climate. And what better way than to watch Benny bloom as he puts himself out there and develops his own course and achieves his own goals and gets to share that wisdom with the rest of the autonomy community. And then through that experience, end up with his own course that he will then be able to share with the world. How exciting is that? Kara, what do you think?
Oh man, that's so exciting. And he really is blooming right now. I mean, he already has had a following. He's built, up all this experience and, has an audience. And then to see like that he's been putting in that, like, I don't want to say the minimal effort because that's not what I'm trying to say, but that baseline, like he's managed to get this far without all of the skills that he's gaining now. And he's got the support of Autonomy Unlimited and like, man, he's on fire. So I'm really excited to see how this continues to develop.
Me too. Yeah. Like you said, yeah, he's got all the pieces. Now it's just time to assemble them into making it help him and his wife accomplish their dreams. So he's right there at the precipice, man. Like 3 months of assistance, and we're going to be all chasing after his success.
And is there a firm date on this Q&A?
It's going to be next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time, so 9 p.m. Eastern time, and it will be in a video conference. And from that, I'm hoping we can just keep that momentum going on Tuesdays, and he'll just start getting things organized and start seeing some of the components of his course coming out.
And is there a replay available of his recent talk with Rich? Because I wasn't sure if maybe I missed it, if it got posted.
It hasn't been posted yet. Our media production team is working on it in order to add in some relevant B-roll in the discussion from Benny talking about this video that was censored and this is like the most popular video. We'll be able to like cut in scenes and show clips through the whole thing. So it's going to have a nice, good production.
Nice, because I did have someone ask me about the replay. So then for anybody listening, it is coming and it's going to be better than ever.
Exactly. Well, after that was just Monday or Tuesday, just in the beginning of the week. Really great conversation with them. But then that next morning, I got up early as I normally do, coming out and getting a jump start on some Eating My Frogs First. And Brett Venat from School Sucks Project, he moved his soapbox brainstorm session that he was doing in autonomy. And he has a new focus of Wednesday mornings at 9:30.
Yeah, yep, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, yeah.
Sweet. Where Wednesdays he's going to be focusing on autonomy and what's going on in our culture and in our community. And then on Fridays, he's going to be talking about geopolitics and world events. So 2 really exciting different topics and some focus. But I had the pleasure of kind of giving my background on what obstacles I had overcome in order just to get to autonomy, and then the blooming of growth since riding this ride now for 3 seasons. I can't believe it. But I'm looking forward to that production. I don't know where it is. I don't know where he's posting it, so I'm keeping an eye out for it. Everybody sees it, let me know. It was a good conversation for me at 6:30 in the morning, let me tell you. All right. We've had some really great client meetings this week because this is Do It Live podcast. You get to hear about all sorts of stuff, not only what's going on in the autonomy course, but as far as Autonomy Unlimited, we are helping out with some really great big clients. Benny Wills, as we were just talking about. Recently, we started working with Mark Passio from What on Earth is Happening. That account is moving nice and smooth. All the needs are being met, and we're starting to be able to provide a lot of support to Mark. Mark has been at it for a really long time. I actually get to give Mark Passio credit for introducing me to the Trivium, and then and thus forth the Trigen Hope community. So I've always wanted to give some back to Mark for all his hard work all this time, and he's got the world on his shoulders, and it's really great to be able to see the support taking effect and him being able to focus on what he wants to do, which is his research. And Kara's working on What on Earth is Happening's email, working on creating newsletters so that more regularly they can send out important messages to their community. Kara, how is that going for you?
Oh, it's going great. You know, that's been one of the big things that they haven't been able to consistently accomplish because they just haven't had the time. They have so much else on their plate. So it's one of those things that we're able to do for them and take off their plate. And what we've been doing in the copywriting team is we're building a newsletter team. And so with like our forces combined, with all of us, we're keeping up on, you know, researching best practices because things in the copywriting world are changing all the time. So we're just working on, it worked out really well this week. You know, I met with my team. We looked over all of the components that we're going to need to go in this first newsletter and divvied them out. Everybody's taking a chunk. So everyone's taking what really works for them and aligns with them and what they're familiar with. So it worked out really well, and I'm excited to see how it's going to all come together.
Sweet.
But this is something that we're going to be able to offer to more and more clients, having just this like kick-ass newsletter team that we can just bust out really awesome newsletters for people. And again, doing them more frequently, then Mark can keep, you know, his audience up on what's going on with his shows. He's got tons of presentations he wants to do. There's a lot of stuff that he's doing that his audience needs to be updated about.
That's great. Yeah, I hear it so often that, we do a newsletter every few months, and then it ends up being this like monster newsletter because you're trying to jam pack everything, catch up, and talk about what's coming up. And instead of a nice, consistent newsletter that your audience can expect and are familiar with seeing it in their inbox, then you can just have it nice and consistent and get your messages and your events out there. And it's so great to see Kara and the team coming together in order to provide this much needed service for content creators and businesses out there, because business owners are busy running a business. And so newsletter is usually the last thing that they have resources for. So this is fantastic news. Next up, we had another great meeting with a guest speaker. His name is Cliff Ennico. I don't know if anybody on the call got to catch that. It was, again, another morning meeting that we had. But Cliff Ennico is America's foremost small business expert. He's been a lawyer for 40 years. He has chosen to leave Wall Street and that lifestyle and just focus on micro businesses, which is near and dear to my heart. Micro businesses, my definition is a business with like 1 to 10 employees, 1 to 50 employees. And Cliff has been helping them out, understanding the legal system, understanding how to set themselves up as businesses. And it's such incredibly valuable information that this guy's been someone I looked up to for a while now, ever since Richard introduced me to him in season 1 when he would play one of his videos in the lectures. But now, because of events, Richard was able to bring him in as a guest lecturer. He was happy to put on a 90-minute presentation and just kind of give us a fire hose of information for all these entrepreneurs and people with small businesses, projects, people ready to take their projects to market, how to set up your business, and set it up right so you miss all these big pitfalls that I definitely fell in.
Okay, so let's leave taxes now. And again, I could do on each one of these slides, I could do a whole 90-minute presentation on each one of these slides. Okay, so I know you have a lot of questions. I'll try to answer the bulk of them before we part company today. But let's keep going because again, I always find that when you ask a question, 9 times out of 10, the answer's on the next slide. I'm pretty good that way. Should you work out of a home? Well, obviously, with the pandemic, we are all working out of our home offices right now for the time being. Although some of us do have to see clients and we do have to have a real office. Most consulting businesses can be run from a home office. I've been doing it for 30 years of my life. Next year, it'll be 30 years that I've been doing it. I've been working out of this room, this very room. There's nothing illegal, immoral, or fattening about it. In fact, it can be a very beneficial thing. You can take the home office deduction on your taxes, and this is a wonderful deduction. What this means is a certain percentage of all your household expenses can be deducted on your taxes, from your taxes, when you work out of a home. Can you imagine that? Now, if you rent an office, you can deduct your rent, but that's all you can deduct. When you work out of a home office, you can deduct a certain percentage of house cleaning services, repairs, anything that you do to the home, a certain percentage of that can be taken off your taxes as a deduction. It's an amazing deduction. One of the great gifts the IRS has given the self-employed community over the years. But as always, there are some rules on this. And those, by the way, those of you who are worried that it's an audit trigger, it is not an audit trigger at all. I mean, you know, I've been taking it for over 20 years. I've never had a problem with this, with the home office deduction. But there are some rules that do apply to that. First of all, and the most important rule is you must have a dedicated office space that is nothing but business, but for business purposes. So if you walk into my office, you will not see anything that you would not see in a real office. Here's Cliff Ennico's rule. If it's okay to have it in a real office, you can have it in your home office. If it's not okay to have it in a real office, you should not have it in your home office. If the IRS ever audits you for home office deduction, the first thing they do is they go around the office and they look for inappropriate stuff that doesn't belong there. So if you're working from your kitchen table, that is not a dedicated home office space. You know, at least 3 times a day, people are eating there, which you would not do in a real office. So just use common sense. A spare bedroom, if you have any kind of an outbuilding or like a barn or something like that, try to have a dedicated, it can be a basement, you can use a part of your basement, but not the whole basement. What I recommend, if you're gonna use your basement, figure out what part of the basement you're gonna use and then use duct tape to measure off that space. And then the pool table can be right on the other side of the duct tape, but within the duct tape, no pool table, no tchotchkes from your grandkids, nothing like that. You know, everything is wholly related to your business. Okay, so for example, like pictures of your spouse and kids, absolutely, that's okay. You know, you'd have that in a real office. Maybe a little CD player for music if you're working after hours. That's okay. Doggy bed, no, unless you have a service animal. What we used to call a seeing eye dog in the old days. If you have a service animal, the doggy bed is okay because you would have that in your real office.
We had 90 minutes of that, plus a Q&A at the end where we were able to spitfire questions at him and just get some, like, honestly, legal advice, free legal advice from Cliff. Huge resource. It was really great to talk to him. He's got, like, a great sense of humor, and he was cracking me up before the presentation and afterwards. He had some really great stories to share. And he was really impressed with autonomy, our goals, how we're helping individuals, you know, create businesses, and also paving the way for people to learn new skills and become freelancers. So he really dug us. I hope that we get to have him back season after season because he's just a wealth of information and also just, yeah, a really swell guy. But that presentation is also in the editing room and they're just cleaning it up a bit, and then it should be up, I would like to say, by the end of the weekend, if anybody didn't catch that. Is there any flies on the wall that caught that or had any feedback or Anything you want to share about Cliff Ennico?
Yeah, I actually caught that one. And it was really good. It was really synchronistic because I have an idea that I'm working on for a business idea, and it was perfect timing for me, to kind of find him, for you guys to present him, and then now I can go check his YouTube out and get all the questions I want, about starting a business and taxes and LLC, incorporating, all that kind of stuff. So it was perfect timing for me.
Sweet. Yeah, he's got a ton of just free video YouTubes up there. You can just put him in the search bar, Cliff Ennico, and yeah, he puts on like long presentations. They're easy to digest. He's got a sense of humor, so it doesn't put you to sleep. But man, I've been working like from my home for 5-6 years now, and yeah, just knowing that kind of information is really beneficial on how to set up your business, how to properly conduct business, and like kind of what are expectations of working from home. So really fantastic. We'll have that replay up here, yeah, early next week. Okay, that was Thursday morning. I got some really cool news, and I don't see him on the roster right now, so I can embarrass him. My best friend, Jespin just joined Autonomy. I've been talking about Autonomy ever since I've been like first reached out to Rich and was helping this get off the ground. But Jespin just joined. It's been a really incredible journey for him to see how I've grown and changed from practicing these putting these skills and methods into use in my life. But he's been amazed, and that really spoke volumes to him of how valuable this course was. He actually is he needs to get his capstone done in order to get his master's, and he knew that autonomy was the next step after all of that education. He said now that he's gone through that, he proved it to himself that he can hang with the academic crowd, but he really knows that his course is becoming a consultant, and they don't teach that stuff in university. They don't teach you how to be able to branch out on your own, take care of yourself, figure out how to exchange value for a way of living without dependency on a boss or academic system like that. So he joined Autonomy just a few days ago, but he got to this is how it went down. He's like, yeah, I want to do it. And I said, dude, we just made this new PDF called 19 Essential Skills School Never Taught You. You got to check it out. I'd really love your feedback. The student body all came together, and like 10 people just helped write that and to put graphics to it. I just really want to get your feedback on how well the design is. So he's like, okay, all right. So we went to getautonomy.info/19 skills. He put in his name to get the PDF, and he was like a little apprehensive at the initial marketing flavor that we hit him with, but it's effective for one. Two, he then got the PDF, and he was like, whoa, this is such high value. Not only the content, but the delivery, the packaging, the whole 9 yards. He really saw like the high caliber level that was put into building that. And then he started getting emails. And because we're friends, right? He knows I do digital marketing. He knows that was my marketing that he's experiencing. That I was like, yeah, so yeah, like you got some emails? How are the emails? He's like, I chose not to open any of them. started sending them to me every few days, and I'm like too busy. I don't have time right now. And it was true. He just bought a home. He just like moved last week. Like the man, the man had his hands full. But then he got one last email that said last chance. And he's like, I don't know if it was true or not, but I hopped on the calendar. I got a call with Richard. They had this amazing conversation where he was able to sit down and talk about his goals. Richard asked him what he was trying to achieve, and they basically started one-upping each other with ideas. Everybody on this call knows what Richard's like. He can blow your mind pretty easily. But it was this like gradual buildup over their hour-long conversation, and then Justin's mind was blown because he never put those pieces together of all those different skills and goals and dreams that he had in that particular order to realize how they all work together. And once you figure out how they all work, then it's just about moving towards that. So boom, within just a couple of days, Justin was now in the community. He did just like literally just move, so nobody might have seen him yet, but he's a poet, and so because of his conversation, we started the Poets Corner. You can find that in the community now, and he's got some really great ideas on how to help make poets some money so that they can actually do what they want to do and not just sell out and do what they don't want to do. 'Cause that's how you kill a poet.
How cool is that? That's awesome. And we've got an amazing little growing community of poets. I'm really loving the extra creative flavor that's been introduced into the community over the last season. Yeah.
Totally, me too. Yeah, and what was it? Yeah, Pablo. Pablo was like, "What? You mean I don't have to like bomb everybody with my poetry in all the other rooms? I have my own room now?" So it is really exciting, and that along with Benny Wills. Benny Wills is also a poet. I don't think I mentioned that last time. He is basically a blue pill poet. He's able to just drop truth bombs in his poetry and just really like expand minds through poetry. And now they got their own poetry corner, and they're going to be able to all get to know each other and see how they can all start helping each other with their goals. So that's what I'm excited about that. It's pretty cool to see like a friend of yours join Autonomy once you get here, because man, it's so hard to like communicate how valuable the community is and how like whatever your problem is, Autonomy can help you, because it's either you're missing a method, you're missing some accountability, you're missing some uncharted areas on your map that need to be filled in, or you just need a solid network of people that are motivated, honest, and have integrity, and they naturally just want to help, because this is what we do. We help each other rise, and all of us rise together. So it's really great to see just my progress being able to speak volumes and influence my friends and around me in order for them to take action. That was awesome to see, and I'm really excited to see where Justin goes in 6 months. Exciting. All right, next thing on my list, that Thursday afternoon, we're still trying to go chronologically. Autonomy Unlimited, we had our marketing meeting. Our marketing meetings are awesome because I love working with all these people, and it's awesome. It's fantastic to be continuously blown away with people's momentum and achievements, and it's to see all of these things that were kind of initially being like held together or were my were my responsibilities. Now support showing up, be like, oh, I love to do this. And be like, fantastic, because now I don't have to do that. And to be able to see that now, to where we're having like all these pillars rise and really hold up this structure of this marketing agency, and being able to really just rapidly accomplish some big projects, as well as excelling in our own personal growth, right? Like I myself am kind of steering the ship, and I have too much on my plate where I have all these things I want to be able to focus on and to develop, but like I literally can't, I don't even have time to focus on things I want to, because there's too much going on. So it's, yeah, really humbling to see all these people step up and take part and find their purpose, and also find a way to help out that's not at all like weighing anyone else down. Like we have an apprenticeship program to where we have people that have never done these skills, but they're able to show up and support and not be a drag. Kara, what's your experience with this? Because you're working more intimately with the apprentices, and do you experience that too, to where it's not a burden, but it's actually like uplifting?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. How the apprenticeship program and the teams have been growing and developing is just, I feel honored to work with these people and to be part of this. And, we're building each other up. We're constantly learning new skills. I mean, we're, those of us that have some of the experience and the skills, we're learning how to effectively teach others. And now, I went through a period of near constant overwhelm, because like you were saying, like there was just so much. There's so much on my plate, and I was the only one that that had the skills to do it at the time. And now, I'm able to delegate so many tasks. I have an incredible team of apprentices that keeps growing, that are like watching their skills develop and taking on projects, and like seeing their excitement, their challenges, their accomplishments. I mean, I'm a proud copywriting mama right now. I am. I'm so happy, and it's been a wonderful experience. And I'm stepping into a new role myself, and discovering more about myself that I didn't know before. And so I feel like I'm blossoming in my own way as I'm watching everyone on my team also blossom and find their way, find what they really like, what they want to do, what they're good at. And now the more that we're able to build these teams, then the more projects that we can take on. So it's just, it's all up from here. It's so exciting.
It is super exciting. Yeah, we're working with clients that we like look up to and adore and want to help succeed. So we're like invested in their success. And like you said, like, and spoiler alert for all the newcomers in autonomy, but it's going to take that first season just to figure out like maybe one thing that you want to start pursuing. But once you do figure that out, then you can take your first step, and then take your next step and see like, oh, do I like this? Do I not like this? You're not being forced to, you're not like exchanging this for a cost of living so that you feel like you have to. You really get to like taste the sampler and figure out how you want to move forward. And there's an energy that is created when you are aligned with your purpose and what you want to be doing, and these like natural innate skills that we all have, where we just do things and we can't turn it off. And once you line all that up, yeah, like you really get this like crazy momentum. And I know like we're just getting started. Like we're just starting to dial in our and optimize this agency, and in turn we're focusing the marketing agency on autonomy. So however you got to find your way to autonomy, you're already experiencing like the outreach part. And so that's basically being put together by the students of Autonomy. So this is really just a great way to experience, what's possible for you.
Yeah. And like you said, you're not, the choice is yours. We have multiple departments. There's lots of things that can be done, lots of skills that you can learn. I mean, it's not just copywriting. We have the media production team and video editing, media, there's graphic design. I mean, there's all sorts of opportunities. And so, come and play with us and learn some stuff, try some things out. See, you don't really know until you try, and you might surprise yourself. I didn't, 5 years ago, I wouldn't have thought that I would have in marketing. This, it wasn't a profession that I thought I would end up in. And I love it. I love what I do. And so much, I love the people that I get to work with. And it's like you said, like our meetings, those are some of my favorite times during the week. We're getting things done, we're being productive, but it's just like a productive hangout with friends. And I enjoy it very much.
Me too.
First off, Kara, you're very good at what you do. And secondly, if you weren't copywriting, what would you be doing?
Wandering aimlessly. I would still probably be waitressing right now if I wasn't here and found Autonomy and found Joshua Hale, who helped me realize that I could actually make a living and, really leverage the skills that I had. So I would probably just be wandering aimlessly and serving breakfast still right now.
When was the last time you had to serve breakfast to somebody that you didn't want to serve breakfast to, and you did it for money?
That was in February. For several months, I was holding on to 1 day a week at the restaurant. I was holding on to this, like that safety net feeling, and I wasn't ready to quite cut the cord yet. I was still kind of like dealing with some scarcity mindset and, afraid of like really taking the plunge and doing this full time. And, as soon as like the beginning stages of COVID started to hit, I was just like, okay, this is actually the push that I need right now. Give any hours that you have for me to somebody else. And then I left permanently in March. And I am so happy that I did.
Now, here's the difference between you and a lot of other people out there. Why didn't you just take the money from Trump and take your time off and put your feet up? Why are you working on client cases every day and you had a copywriting clinic this morning, if memory serves, right? Why are you doing that when you could just take the money and run?
It fills my need for purpose. So much. It meets so many more needs than just getting an easy paycheck could ever meet. And this is what, I've come to like love so much about this, is it's so much more than making money. I mean, that's kind of like a byproduct for me. I'm so fortunate that I'm able to do this and, make enough to, live comfortably where I'm at. And, it just keeps going up. But there's so much more. There's so much more need than money. And that's something I had learned, really early on when I was a teenager, when I had parents and teachers tell me, passion, and they said, that's not a feasible career choice. You're not going to make any money. And that was this big moment for me when I said, so my grand purpose on this life and on this planet here is just to make money. That just doesn't compute with me. So it's filled my need for purpose, and that drives me.
Well, the other aspect is happiness. They never say you're not going to be happy doing that. They say you're not going to make enough money doing that. And the difference is having a skill lets you generate luck on demand. It's opportunity meets preparation. And with your skill set, you can do that on your own schedule.
Yeah, very much. And I notice in my day-to-day now, I just had instances just this last week where, some unexpected health things came up, and, I might be looking at like a big dental bill, and not more than, you know, I'd say a year ago, I would have been just completely brick walled. Like, there's no way that I can make this happen. I don't know what I'm going to do. Just this hopelessness. And it was a really good test for me this week on seeing how far I've come with my own scarcity mindset. And my initial reaction was in questions of, all right, how am I going to do this? How am I going to make this work? And then I started talking to people and reaching out, and now I'm starting to get a plan together. So yeah, I've noticed so much my own difference in myself and how I handle things, curveballs that get thrown my way. I don't react like the way that I used to. And so I have this kind of baseline sense of calm, along with, that happiness, that I definitely didn't have before. Just this morning, my car died and I had to do all this running around and messing up my schedule and getting my car towed. And I have been in a great mood all day. And it was just another little example of, I can handle those curveballs with so much more ease than I ever could before. I went off on a tangent there.
Awesome, Kara. I'm so proud to see, your growth, because, we've been sharing a path for a while now, and I remember our first like crazy conversation meeting at a cafe after meeting each other online. And what did I talk about? I talked about tragedy and hope, huh?
It's
I
true.
dropped her the Anglo story, Anglo-American story, and she didn't run away. And I said, well, there's something special about this girl.
Yeah, that first meeting, and we just kept going. Ideas kept sparking like right away. And I remember distinctly, because I wrote about this in my journal, that I had flash images of you and I putting presentations on together. And right after we met, I wrote about that in my journal. And then sure enough, we were putting on those Skillshare presentations just, a handful of months later. And it's just been a crazy, awesome ride. I'm very pleased and honored to know you, Joshua.
Me too. Well, now why don't you tell us about your presentations with your copywriting clinic? I got a clip pulled up.
Yeah.
Just to start, but why don't you intro it? What is it?
The copywriting clinic is the opportunity to learn and practice different forms of copywriting. So, we kind of, where it came about is as we started this apprenticeship program and started taking on apprentices, we had all these tasks, but trying to hand off tasks to someone that doesn't have any context or knowledge of how to do said task, there was a gap. There was a huge knowledge gap there, and something that we needed to fill. So Agnieszka and I kind of came up with this idea writing clinic, where we would have the chance again to be able to kind of just give the foundations of what copywriting is, all of the different forms, and have the opportunity for students to go through the week, practice, have practice assignments, and then come back, and then we can give feedback and go through them all together. That's something that we did today. We spent 2 hours just going through writing projects that students have been working on over the last few weeks.
Sweet, let's take a look.
All right, Chris, why don't you give us a little context on this?
Sorry, I'm on my phone instead of my computer, so I'm a bit slow. I was sitting there going, where is it? Looking for the Zoom on, because I was looking for my website myself on my phone. Cool, I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the car, so I'm a bit awkward right now, but it's no problem.
Driving in the car.
I've been teaching English in Spain. I was teaching in Spain for many years. And basically, the fun stuff is really the stuff that at the end of the day, we always end up doing. It's so simple. And I caught one of Ludger's presentations several months ago, and he knows this. I never did comment to Ludger about it, but something that he does is exactly what I do. And it's one thing that I have found to be most effective And in fact, it's something that I do. No, you go. Sorry, my wife's driving. And basically, I'm just trying to reel in some private students. And my, I guess, core competence will be, look, if you want to prepare for an exam or go through the grammar, yeah, I can do that. I can do that in my sleep. I can do whatever they want. But at the end of the day, what I've discovered over the years to be the most practical, most effective, that I actually end up doing all the time, I tell my students, look, unless there's something specific you want to do, you need to practice speaking. You need to just do it. You need to get out there. Yeah, okay, we can get caught up on vocabulary and grammar. It is important. But the reality is the more you speak, the more mistakes you make. The more mistakes you make, the faster you will learn. And so, you know, and I've got some private classes now. I work for a company in Madrid that I've got 3 students as well. But those classes are ending in next week.
So then you guys, I'm assuming, went through the website.
Go ahead a little bit. Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Went through the website and then gave feedback.
Yeah.
How the black button is not centered in the white space. There's more white space below it than above it. Above it is just this tiny little sliver. And then below it, there's a whole bunch of space. That button needs to be centered in that white space there.
Thank you, Agnieszka. That was killing me.
I think I could handle moving. Yeah, I could handle that. Yep.
And I will mention, I didn't even realize this was a clickable button until I hovered over it because it's black.
Yeah, I'm not liking
Okay.
it personally.
Agreed. It doesn't. Yeah, it didn't look like a button. And the part about the spacing, Chris, that's called padding. And
Okay.
once you start to pick up on it, you'll be able to see what Agnieszka's pointing out to you. But yeah, padding around that, and then probably make it look more like a button somehow. Like
Okay.
a call to
Cool.
action.
Yeah. No, I
the other
can
place-
work with the padding.
Well, the other place you'd put the call to action is in the hero image right above it, and then people would probably think it's a button. But right there, it looks more like a margin or like a spacer type of thing.
I've never seen so much text in a button.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Here, I'm going to put some notes for you in this.
That sounds really valuable. So you just went through, everybody's
Yeah.
giving you some real feedback.
Yeah, we went through a good handful of student projects this morning. And so we're able to, you know, collectively able to put ideas for certain sentences and stuff in their notes. We went through some emails, we went through a little bit more website content further in, and it was nice because everyone's, you know, we've been learning about, you know, writing emails, we've been learning about landing pages, and a whole bunch of other, you know, copywriting fundamentals. And so they've been having this chance to now put that into work. So yeah, we put some into that Hemingway app and we played around with that for a little while.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you've had a growing number of people showing up at each week, right? There's a big interest in wanting to learn copywriting.
There is. Yeah, we've been getting a lot of great feedback. They're getting a lot of value from it. I definitely recommend anyone that hasn't, check out the first one. The very first copywriting clinic was titled How to Not Break Trust While Copywriting. And we did a broad overview and just really broke down all the different areas of copywriting and the different voice that you use, the different goals of each one. There's a lot of things to think about. And so it just created a really nice base foundation that I'd recommend people checking out.
Awesome. Yeah, well, that was what, your third or fourth copywriting clinic?
That was today was number 6.
Dang, nice.
Yeah.
You're making yourself a nice little section of the library too.
Yeah.
More on that in a second. First off, I want to give a huge shout out to Brandon Habermas, who's a fly on the wall right now. But I had some audio issues with a track where my wife's favorite yoga instructor, she reached out to him in this pandemic and said, "Hey, do you have any recordings of you doing yoga? I just miss you so much." Or yoga studios are closed. And he's like, yeah, I do. And he sent over a recording, an audio track of his routine. It was from like 8 years ago. And I was glad to hear that it was the same routine that we got to experience in his yoga class. He really had it down tight. He had like just right amount of humor in it. It was a power yoga class. You get your sweat on. And well, my favorite benefit from that, like once you get that routine, your body kind of memorizes it. And I loved going to the yoga studio because I could have been working all day long and my mind's just like got 30 tasks it's working on. Go into a yoga session and you just focus on your body and you get into that rhythm, and then my mind just like stops thinking about all that stuff, and then it's over. Well, he he sent an audio track, and the audio track, it was like nails on a chalkboard. It was like clipped out, which means that he must have had the microphone like right next to his mouth. He was talking loudly for the yoga classroom, and so it was just awful. And like you could hear it, you could understand him, but I was like trying to listen to it with earbuds, and I was like, this is painful. This is painful to listen to. I tried to tweak it a little bit, and it wasn't doing it justice. I tossed it over to Brandon. Brandon has like some really kick-ass audio software. He's got the skills to pay the bills, and lo and behold, he kicked me back to the track last night, and world of difference. You can still tell, like, when you have something crappy, it's still crap at the end, but it's totally like legible crap is what I'm saying now.
That last part sold me on it because I was like, how's he saving that audio? But if you're like, you can still tell it's not totally quality, but it's a lot better than it was, then that's a good advertisement, because I've lost audio like that as well. When it overmodulates, I'm like, it can't be saved. I thought it was impossible. So what you're saying is it's possible, but if you listen closely, you can tell. That's totally acceptable as a final product for business.
For
Good
sure.
job. Good job, Brandon. How did you do that, Brandon? What software did you use?
Do tell.
And how much do you charge to save people's audio? Because saving people's ass like that, that's worth a lot of money in post-production. Sometimes you can name your price. That should be enough to get them off mute.
Yeah, I'm here.
And then come on down. You're the next contestant on Do It Live.
Brandon, was that the worst audio you've ever worked with?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I use Isotope RX7. Yeah, it's mainly for noise removal, and I bought it because I really wanted a different program. I wanted Ozone and for mastering music, but they had a production suite, and it was only like $100 more to get the suite. So I said, well, why not? And I've probably used that RX7 just as much as the Ozone now. So I've helped a few other people in Autonomy with some audio. So it definitely has paid off, and it's fun. I like doing that stuff.
Well, yeah, it's totally
It's
legible
fun,
now.
Joshua. Right there. It's the thing he can't turn off.
Right.
He thinks it's fun. Ooh, it's a good challenge, Brandon. How old's the baby?
She's spitting up on me. She is 7 months.
Woo!
She won't go to sleep.
Oh.
So now all subpar audio goes through Brandon.
Hey, that's fine. I'm down.
Yeah, and before I handed you that track, it was only one channel. It was only like a left audio channel too. So I duplicated the channel into a right, and I tried to tweak with it, like I said, and then I was like, oh man, this is awful. So the great thing about that is like we're just trying to play it off of our phone in the living room to do a yoga session with, so it doesn't need to go through any studio speakers. So what you did was save the day, and I'm actually going to send that back to the yoga instructor because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing, but he can now have something decent to share with people instead of that crap.
Cool. Glad to help.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon.
Hey, Brandon, real quick, do you mind editing when there's not an audio problem, like mastering audio from an interview?
Oh, no, not at all.
I have an interview. I don't have the audio mastered on it yet. I shot it like 4 years ago, and before I edit, I did want to master the audio professionally, and I was waiting, but now that I heard what you just did with that, I think you could handle this audio very well. So let's talk this week.
All right. Sounds good.
Awesome. Boom. That's how things get done here in Autonomy. Brandon, before you go, what was your biggest like aha moment this last season?
Well, hold on. I got to put her down. She's ready to move. Just the past like 2 or 3 weeks have been kind of crazy with work and, family, and my car broke down 2.5 miles from home, or I'm sorry, 2.5 hours from home. What was that? Tuesday, and I had a big project I had to finish Wednesday for work. Like the biggest project I do all year was due. But I noticed that I never lost it. I never lost my cool. And it kind of struck me a few days after. And I actually think I would attribute that to this course and just participating in the community is part of that too. Yeah, that was huge. I think I can be a short fuse, so I'm kind of stunned that I didn't kind of fly off the handle when all that went down. It's like,
Was it kind of like no big deal, and you said good, you just embraced it, or what happened? What was different?
I had no reaction really. It was more like, okay, whatever, this is happening. I got to deal with it. There's no real benefit to getting upset about it. And yeah, it's something that you have said to other people, and you've said it to me too, is just like, what do you want to focus your energy on? And I've had to stop and think about that a few times, but this time it just kind of happened, like intuitively, like, okay, getting upset is not a useful way to spend my time, and it doesn't really help solve the problem. Like taking action, calling the nearest dealer, calling a tow truck. Like, I mean, it happened. I can't do anything about it. Let's fix it and move on,
That's huge, man.
Yeah.
That's huge because you can hear concepts, you can hear theories, and you can be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But it's not until like you get in those situations that you actually like. There's one thing of like having to will yourself into like a good mood or to thinking positively, but when you do that enough, it just becomes like habit, and you realize, yeah, it's not worth making a big deal about it because you're just sucking your energy away, and you're not having access to your full thinking capabilities when you're pissed off. And so you end up just making the situation prolonged and worse.
And then also like not taking that victim mentality too. I just kind of, instead of feeling sorry for myself, I just laid out everything I had to do. I finished my project Wednesday with a half hour to spare. And then I have to do 4 briefings. My first briefing was Thursday morning, and I rocked it. And I have another one on Monday. So just not being down on myself and just pushing through. And that was a huge confidence boost thinking back on it too. Like, man, I still can't believe I got through this week. we just went today, 4 hours of driving to go pick up the car, and it's driving better than ever now. So it's just like all that crap that happened the first part of the week, like I'm on cloud nine right now because everything just keeps falling into place all of a sudden. And like not losing my cool through it all makes it even, can't think of the word, but it makes it even better, you know?
Gosh, I resonate with that so much, Brandon, because I've just in you know, my own way, I've had just a kind of a similar week of like these crazy things, unexpected things coming up and like throwing a whole wrench in like, you know, where my projects were at and all this stuff. And then just today, just this morning, my car died, had to, you know, run and get on the bus and make it home and clinic and then deal with the tow truck this afternoon. And I was just saying to my husband when a little while ago and he got up that I said, I've been in a good mood though all day through all this. And I'm not really going to question it. I'm just going to roll with it. But I felt like similar to you, like this whole week where I had not that long ago, Kara would have not responded very well. And, you know, would have gone into like that victim. And it was so different. It's been so different. Like, and I do also attribute that so much to autonomy and to the community. You know, I felt like a tremendous amount of support this morning at the clinic, just everything about this. It's just so, I know I'm losing my words, but that support. And I just wanted to say, I was just, everything you were saying that I was resonating so much with, because I'm having that similar experience at the same time as you right now. So thanks for sharing.
Two quick questions. Kara, do you have AAA?
No.
No?
Yeah.
And that was like a complication today, right? Because you can't just call AAA. You had to come home on the bus, then call the tow truck later. You've earned a bonus for AAA if you and your husband want it, and Autonomy Unlimited will sponsor that. And now my question to Brandon is, you did so much, man. I'm proud of you. What would happen if you went through this course again, given what you've already accomplished for yourself?
Oh, I'm definitely planning on going through it as many times as I can. Or I mean, it's unlimited, right? So why there's only benefits to repeating it like to infinity.
But isn't that a downside? It's the same lecture, but what would be different for you going through it again?
Well, and even so, yeah, I joined season 1, but didn't really participate until this season. But I was still listening to the lectures on Teachable, so I probably got some of the lectures I heard for the second or third time, because every now and then I listen to the same one twice, and there's just so much information. I don't think I can't, and maybe I don't want to speak for everybody, but I don't think you can pick up everything with one listen. I felt like that about most of the content that you've put out, the Peace Revolution and some of the other stuff through Tragedy and Hope, is like, it's just so, the material is dense, but in a good way. Like there's nuggets that you'll miss if you're not paying close enough attention.
Yeah, I feel I joined in season 2. And I really only think that it was into the 3rd season that I really hit my stride. And so like season 2, it was like taking in all this information. I was minimally engaging with the community. And this season, I've been able to connect with so many more people, really find my stride. Parts of the lectures and the information is hitting me differently. And I feel like I just kind of went, just started to shoot up. So this momentum, I mean, like you, like I'm on cloud 9. I'm like, let's just keep going. Let's do this.
Once you start going, you really start going.
And in between seasons, that's another thing is, in between seasons can be when a lot of magic really happens. So I'm really excited to see like the new projects that are going to unfold coming out of this and more stuff that we're going to be doing with Autonomy Unlimited. I mean, there's a lot of exciting things on the rise.
Good segue. So I'm not going to cover Friday night's lecture because it was a graduation lecture. It's, I think, my favorite lecture. I'm not even going to say why. So I'm just going to leave that hanging there. But I'm going to segue over to like what's next, right? Season 3 just wrapped up. Here we go. Let me know if my screen does the right thing. Are you seeing the new course?
Yep.
Good.
I say it's no longer going to be teachable; it'll be Kajabi.
We're now switching over our course software, and this thing just keeps getting better and better the more I work with it. So we now have a suite of courses that have been moved over and are being implemented or are expanded upon here in our new home, the University of Reason. And man, just wait till I start digging into some of these. This is so freaking cool what we can accomplish. So next week I have a meeting with a client. I'm going to be going down to their office in order to take some video footage of for their website and social media. And Rich, as usual, just started shooting some YouTube videos at me in order to help me prepare and get ready for a new skill that I'm developing. I'm pretty handy with doing videography, but man, right now we specifically need B-roll, and so Rich tossed a nice amount of educational videos to me in order for me to really understand the grammar of what B-roll is. For those that are listening at home, B-roll, do you know, I don't know why it's called that. Is there A-roll because that's the main footage, and then B-roll?
Yeah, technically there is A-roll, but no one ever calls it A-roll. So A-roll would be like if you shot an interview with the client, the A-roll is them answering the questions, and maybe you're asking them and you're in it, maybe not, but them answering the questions would be your A-roll. It's your primary footage. It's your really valuable footage. But to get that value out of the footage, you need like 10 times as much B-roll as the interview. So there's like a proportion. And so the B-roll helps to cover cuts. It helps to illustrate, most importantly, what the person's saying. So oftentimes in my history, if I went to film someplace, I never shot enough B-roll. So in this case, it's easy enough to get the client to say what he says. What's challenging is what B-roll do you need? How is it framed? How is it moving? How is it going to be edited? And having that idea list, that shot list, and maybe even a voiceover script to accompany it, that's all like pre-homework for the assignment. So Joshua's getting a crash course in that in the past 24 hours.
And what's new about this, Rich has shot me a shotgun amount of YouTube videos to do some autodacting myself, but I was able to grab all those links and put them into one of our sections in our higher education course and put them all in a way that I can just come in here whenever, and now everybody can have access to this and learn about this too. So as I learn, I'm able to capture and organize it in the course so everybody can learn.
So what he's showing you is in Kajabi, which is the replacement for Teachable. That's a real-time page that he's captured, not only from the YouTube videos I sent him, but he was also able to live record a video and embed it into the course, into that lecture real-time, which is pretty remarkable. We couldn't do that on Teachable. And what he's saying is it's making it really easy to learn new stuff fast.
And it's so nice that, you know, oftentimes we get so many great videos and links dropped into Discord, but they get lost in the chat streams and get more difficult to find. So this is really great, having a place that we can capture those really valuable ones for people to check out.
So everybody's getting a sneak peek on after you graduate Autonomy, then you have access to move into the Autonomy Unlimited higher education, where we're doing just that. We are capturing the natural growth that we're all going through, and so that those behind us don't have to go aimlessly searching for it. They just know exactly where to go in order to pursue what we've already learned and developed. So really freaking cool that, yeah, I was able to figure that out today. And like, it took me 4 minutes to grab what Rich threw at me, organize it, make a 40-second video introducing it, and boom, now everybody can have access to just that direct message that Rich threw at me. And so all the team leaders have access to be able to upload to their departments. So this is going to just swell. Like, this already is big, a huge wealth of information in each of these courses. Kara, which one have you been working on right here?
Oh no, down. The copywriting, email marketing, and newsletters.
Yeah. These are all categories. Nice.
Ooh, I got to put images in there. I'll have to work on that. But yeah, I've got different categories. So, you know, we've got the copywriting clinic, we've got then team meetings, and then there's also, we have a lot of like miscellaneous training videos that have built up over time. Yeah, what you're looking at there then too. Oh yeah, you had the copywriting clinic. I have a nice welcome for new apprentices. So I have a 3-video welcome sequence to just kind of get acclimated. And then there's a bunch of awesome like miscellaneous training videos that we've done over time. So I've been working on organizing those into like, you know, landing pages, email marketing, the different categories. So
fantastic. And you're getting the do it live preview where we still have lots of work to do, but everything is coming together really nicely. This is a quick sneak peek at season 4. We'll be bringing new enrollments into here shortly. We're just doing the final touches on the introduction, and then you'll be able to come here and, oh yeah, check this out. Got this done last night. Pre-course survey. Look how nice this, look at that, in-house survey.
awesome.
Boom, 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 boom. And then, Rich, this would get emailed to us or a reciprocant so that they can catalog that data and information.
And eventually there'll be a Zapier kind of connection to the CRM, right?
Yeah, good point. And Agnieszka just got back to me today. She's got a little team, and they're going to be moving ahead through the course and making nice little like multiple choice quizzes through all of each week's lectures.
For
Awesome.
season 4, the other thing we could do is we could do a post-lecture debrief, because there's always a couple slides or things I think of during the lecture that we can improve, and then those notes get lost in the shuffle and I just move on to the next week. So like last night, there was 2 slides that were out of order that I should have caught in my preview, but I didn't. But I could make notes, or I should have said it live, like, hey, make a note.
We got,
but we'll get it done.
We got the announcement section. So yeah. Real exciting stuff. One more thing I want to show off was this last week we got our landing page done. That means the page that people land on when they come to your site. And you might not know how to get here, but you could go to universityofreason.com and check out our handiwork. And if you're listening to this, you can just take the next step once you get here and follow the trail in order to get into autonomy for yourself.
And this is the result of what the copywriting team worked on, correct?
Right.
Yeah, so that was a good example of of what we got to do recently, where we learned about landing pages, and then we did like a group work party, and we put together all of the components for the landing page we were just looking at. So it's kind of cool to see then that like finished result after we only just saw it in a Word document. So
Right.
Cool.
So
Who ended up making that final graphic of the book?
what?
The
Al?
graphic. Yeah. Well, I saw some earlier versions. Who made the final version? Because the final version looks impeccable, and the early versions were good, but there were those slight visual errors in them. So that looks solid. Who ended up doing that?
That's Savri's template. So we have just a Photoshop file where you're able to just add your images to it, and it spits out a 3D mock.
Just that aspect alone almost pays for his course. All right, well done. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, anybody on the call want to chime in? This is the last Do It Live Autonomy podcast before we take a break for the summer, and then don't pick it up until season 4. Anybody want to come on and just share any aha moments from this last season that they had, or challenges they overcome, or what are they really excited about working on right now? I can wait all night. Okay.
You did a good job being silent. I was like, he's doing a really good job pausing and waiting for people to come off mute. But if nobody's ready, that's cool too.
Maybe by next season.
But Brett would have never waited that long. And you made it, you were so still that I was like, did my video freeze? So just that pause right there buys you extra time with the audience. So that's a good execution of that.
I've been strengthening that muscle, and I was able to hold it for the longest amount of time ever.
Who was it? Tyler that took a screenshot of himself on the call so that he could leave the meeting and it looked like he was standing there still? Who was that?
I asked about that, and he said he didn't know what I was talking about, but I've had that idea. I want that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But you have to take it in the frame that's in the video for Zoom. So screenshot, it takes some forethought planning for that type of production. Just like your video with the client this week. It's just more steps. But did you get that from the videos? Like, there's some cool stuff going on. There's a lot of speed ramping and motion blurring. But once you get that, it's the same thing repeated for all these shots. And then the question is order of shooting the shots, because if you ramp, or if you take the camera up in one shot, then the next shot should come up from the bottom and be a continuity. And so I've got ideas for shots. I've got ideas for scripts and voiceover that the Wills.
All right, welcome back.
Yeah, once you start seeing it, then you like once it's explained to you and you see it, then you see it everywhere. But
well, and it's such a cool what's in those videos for B-roll. That technique specifically is so cool that even though I know how to do it, I still have trouble seeing it. My brain is still like, how are they doing that? And the other part of my brain's like, you know how they do that. But visually, yeah, these guys can really carry it off well. And what they do is so simple, and they make so much silly money from it that nobody listening to this ever thought I could make 6 figures being a B-roll artist. Because it's not A-roll. It doesn't sound important. But it's the thing that makes it sizzle. It's the thing that makes it sellable to other people. It's the thing that makes clients pay for it. And that's why it's an art. And if Joshua's not going to do it all himself, he at least needs to know how to delegate it and what done right looks like.
just the slow-mo effect alone is the money shot, right? Like, life is not that cool looking. But when you break
everything in slow motion.
Speed, ramp
it up later. Because the thing is, if you ramp up slow motion, there's no problem. But if you try to slow down regular frame per second film, there is a problem. So film all your B-roll in slow motion, and then you can always ramp it up. And no one's gonna see those extra frames, but they'll miss those extra frames if you're filming it at. So it depends on your camera, but traditionally, like a shutter rate is 1/48, and you're shooting 24 frames per second. If you wanted to do slow motion, you probably do
I bumped it up
48
to 60 on my phone.
to 60, and then really classy slow motion, like what you're seeing in those videos, those cameras do 120 frames per second.
Damn.
So that, right. But there's ways to make those 120 frames look like 1,000 frames per second, because to rent the slow motion cameras that you see on all these TV shows, it's $2,000 a day to rent the equipment to shoot those shots. And then if you wanted National Geographic, it's like $10,000 a day. Those are like $2 million cameras. Some of those cameras that they use are super expensive. So it's knowing about what do you need to achieve the effect, and what's the minimum you can invest into the shot to get that effect without like overkill.
Yeah, those cameras are crazy. Like, I'm working with my phone, and I'm pretty impressed with my phone.
Everything Josh was showing you was in the new teachable or Kajabi course that has the University of Reason. So this is an actual entry in there. So check it out.
Yeah.
If you're a graduate, you got the access.
Woohoo! All right, well, I'm going to wrap this final episode up here in Do It Live Autonomy Podcast. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. It's been a fantastic season. Season 3, we made it. It's a milestone. Season 4 is like, man, I know this is going to be the best one yet. We've all worked so hard. We put so much energy and time into making this experience just smooth, and Rich's material hasn't changed. It's improving, but here and there. But for the most part, that's information is timeless. But the experience of the course, the experience of the community, all these things have just grown beyond my wildest imagination in the last 3 months. And season 4 is going to be the best yet. There's so much powerful stuff that's unimaginable that hasn't even happened yet. And the synergy of the community coming together, figuring out what their passion is, and having the skills in order to learn how to do what they're passionate about, and then be able to take that to market is just one of my favorite parts of being a part of this community. Make sure
12 and a half hours from now is the final Q&A for season 3. So if you didn't speak up now during the podcast while you're listening on mute, I expect to see you tomorrow for the final Q&A at noon Eastern time, Sunday.
And for those watching this in replay, you missed your chance. You better hold your peace till season 4, because that's when you're going to get your chance next. Make sure to subscribe on whatever network you're watching this on. I think we're all over the place now. BitChute, Library. We're definitely not just on YouTube anymore. Thanks to Content Safe for hooking us up and getting us so that we're undeplatformable. Look that word up. It's not in the dictionary. But make sure to subscribe, like us, share us with your friends. If you're curious about how to get into autonomy, just go to getautonomy.info/19 skills. Tell him, whoever you talk to, most likely Richard, when you're having your interview to get in, that you learned about it on Do It Live Autonomy Podcast. See you next season. Thanks so much for showing up, and we'll talk to you then.